And how do you keep strong in the middle of all this? I can't even imagine.
I just saw my brother being interviewed on Israeli TV, and I try so hard to keep strong. I saw him, and it reflected the level of destruction in our life. I cannot, it's not, I keep telling myself, this is not the time to fall apart. They might be saved. It's not a good time. We are all coming together, their children and their brothers and their sisters and the other children that, like me, grew in this community, this beautiful peace-loving community, and we're coming together. We're trying to support the 160 survivors that have been moved to Eilat. They have nothing. They have lost everything. They've been through 10, 12, 15 hours of trauma. It's impossible to understand it. So I am holding on to my breath. I'm trying to be a beacon of advocating my parents and their friends and families' situations so that we might be able to do something. My parents are very old and frail. They're in their mid-80s. My mom 85, my father 83. My mom needs oxygen at night. My father is on medication for lung disease. We have no time. So I cannot, and I don't even want to think what kind of person can take an 85-year-old woman out of her bed. I mean, what kind of rules is this war? And I think it's impossible to understand. Therefore, we have to just work towards returning them back. They would not last long, and then we can collapse. Or, I have a 12-year-old son. I can't just. We have to keep going, and we have to hold on to other people.
You're very brave, and I want to ask you. You said your father needs oxygen. Did I hear that right?
My mom
Your
needs
mother,
oxygen.
your mother
Yes.
needs oxygen, and
She has a pacer, a heart pacer. She's on medication. She has a bad back. Anybody that have parents that are older know how complicated looking after them. I mean, these people must have mothers too.
that's a good question. These people must have mothers too. What are their mothers saying to them today? How have you explained this to your 12-year-old son?
We were on a way to a day out on the train when I heard the news, and then we returned back on the train, and we have just tried to hold it together. My son is, it's his favorite place in the world. My parents' home is like, it's like a magnet. People can't stay away from it, the family, because there's so much love and care and joy. And my father plays the piano, and they have a big cacti garden that you just showed. So I have told him they are missing with a large group of people. I had to tell him yesterday more because they are, it's all over the news. So I want him to know, and I want him to know that we are all doing everything we can for their return. I want to give him the hope that something good can happen.
Now, Sharon, here is the challenge, as you know. Israel has declared an all-out sort of war, and tanks have rolled towards Gaza. A blockade has been declared, but hostages like your parents could be among the Hamas and civilians mixed into that population in Gaza today. And as Israel sends boots on the ground, bombs places and targets from the air, it's complicated. What happens to the hostages? What would you expect and hope both the Netanyahu government and other world leaders to be doing right now to bring hostages safely home?
I expect my government to do everything to return home, especially the mother and children and elderly. This is not between armies. This is civilians. I do not want to go into politics at the moment because I think that there is time for us as citizens of Israel to deal with the way our government dealt and think about it. But at the moment, time is running out, and I expect every government in this world to work towards their safe return of these children. My friend's child, she's autistic, she cannot just be there. It's not possible. There's children, there's 9-year-old and 3-year-old. Are you ready for the video? Because I am not. You know, Hamas have shown us that they are far worse than our worst imagination. They have shown us that they are, as you say, the same as ISIS. Yes. I always care for the people of Gaza. I always think of them. We live so close to the border. We have relationship. My father drove last week still for 10 years since he retired. He drove Palestinian, sick Palestinian people to hospitals in Israel and in East Jerusalem. He worked all his life for peace. He has many friends that are Muslim and Palestinians. I grew up with the Bedouin communities. These are not our enemies, but ISIS is. And ISIS is holding on to Gaza. And ISIS...
And when you say that your father used to drive sick Palestinians to hospitals, did he do that on a voluntary basis?
He did it on a voluntary basis through an Israeli organization that helped sick Palestinian people receive the care that they need in Israeli hospital and in Palestinian hospital in East Jerusalem. We are neighbors. We are neighbors.